What's up, everybody? I have been super busy with my new printer, the FlashForge 5M Pro, and still getting the hang of it, but it is super user-friendly straight out of the box. There's no calibration, bed leveling. It is literally the perfect printer for someone who has never had a 3D printer. And it is on that new Clipper system, which makes it extremely fast. What would normally take some prints X amount of hours now takes about 25 to 30% of that hour. So if you're looking at something that was, let's just say, 12 hours, it prints it in like 4 hours. And I am definitely amazed. I've only printed a few models on it, but I wanted to showcase what I have been printing and the new files on the Patreon account of Landspeeder Luke. Because to me, these stands he's now making are a game changer for your display shelves, and they just have been working great. So let's get right into this. Now, this first file I'm going to show you is the throne from the Book of Boba Fett. I got this file off of Thingiverse, and there was a number of Boba Fett thrones on there. However, I never printed it. On my old printer, it estimated about, I want to say 30 hours print time. On my new printer, this printed out in 4.5 hours, I believe. So I just wanted to show you what it looks like. And first of all, you see this? This is the texture from the actual bed. I have never been able to print anything without the use of a raft or a brim. Rarely a brim worked. Almost none of the times of not using a raft did any of my prints successfully work. And I've seen where people were able to print things without a raft and it would have a texture like this, and it is amazing. Again, it kind of goes into play of the Z offset calibration, leveling your bed, using the paper method, using all sorts of different tools, playing cards to try to find the Z offset, just everything and anything I could, and I was just never good at it. Well, this machine does it for you, literally. And before I print anything, it relevels every time. So the detail on this is amazing. I want to say I did 10 to 15% infill. I can't remember. It's one or the other. I am going to show you some of the deficiencies as well. And you can see up under there, kind of had a little bit of problems up under the armrest. I'm not sure why. I also did this support free, if that means anything and explains. I did have, it looks like an error right there where it's a line, but it's very hard to tell. Do have to fix some stuff back here on, I guess it's the hieroglyphs or language, but you can see right there are some blemishes. And of course it did not print the two heads right there. Those are separate pieces. And I doubt, I'm going to try, but I doubt I could do well with a filament printer. Those would be more set up for like a resin printer, I would think. However, this printing in 4.5 hours, I am simply blown away. I cannot wait to paint this up, get it on the shelf. And it's something that I've wanted to print for so long and just never did so. It didn't come out too well up here towards the top. But again, a little sanding. I don't get too fancy into the sanding portion. Some people do. I'm happy as is, but I am going to throw some paint on this. But I'm just simply amazed that that printer did this in 4.5 hours. So there's our Boba Fett throne. The next thing I'm going to show you is a file that Landspeeder Luke uploaded to his Patreon site. If you know, I print the mess out of the action figure stands that I've shown you in the past. And I never printed the tiered bases that were in the, I want to say it was a hexagon. I might be off, but it's the other figure stands I've showed you on this channel. And recently he came out with a tier system, and these stands right here that are going to fit, and they slide into the tier system. And there's many different levels and sizes of the tier system. I did the smallest one just to try it out. But what's unique about this, and I'll probably mess up because I'm on camera, there's a sliding port that prevents the figures from falling forward. So if you have them on the stand and the weight of the figure is too much, there's a slider clip, and I'll show you that in a minute, that prevents it. So basically, let's see if we can do this. This is me leaning the figures over, doing the Michael Jackson. That is just awesome right there. That is definitely going to prevent the domino effect on your shelf. So let's get right into it. Let me show you what it looks like. Again, he has many different sizes on his Patreon to fit different types of shelves. I forgot what this one was labeled as, but you can accommodate for your printer. For instance, on this one, because it's a height that I already like, stock, when I slice it, I'm printing it like this on the bed. Let's see. So what I can do is when I am slicing the software, I can just make it taller. Then when I take it off the printer, it will actually be that much wider. So this was printed support free, so no supports. The first one printed perfectly. The second one, I had a little bit of an issue where it adhered to the bed. And again, that has no fault of the printer. It is my, third biggest object I've printed on the printer. Many combinations could come into effect on that. I'm thinking it was the bed temperature. I had it at 65, but of course, it's the time of the year when the temperatures drop drastically and warm up pretty quickly. So it could be a number of factors, but I'm still happy with how it turned out and for what it is. But I do want you to take note of that, is how it printed on there, and it curled up some. So this is the tier. You can see what it looks like up under it, to the side, and to the front. Now, you'll see these little sliding tracks right there. And each tier has that right to the rear end of it. Okay? And then the front part is just, I guess, to prevent it sliding forward. So, what you do is you take this, which your figure fits in. As you can see, I'll slide him out. You put his foot in there, and you can either come to the rear and slide it, and now it prevents it from coming forward, as you can tell. You could just go to the back, insert it in right there, and again, the longer you do the base, the more you can fit on your riser. Now, what I want you to take note on is these are meant for Star Wars figures, which I have a ton of them, and I'm going to be utilizing these with my Star Wars figures. However, if you hold a Marvel Legend figure or a G.I. Joe figure, Action Force figure, against a Black Series 6-inch Star Wars figure, there is a drastic change in the size. They are both 1/12 6-inch figures. However, in my opinion, Black Series are more true 1/12 scale, like your SHF figure arts type figures. Whereas Marvel Legends and G.I. Joes, yes, they're 1/12 scale and they're 6-inch. However, they're a little bit bulkier. They might be bulkier in size, ranging from their feet to their size. But you take any Luke Skywalker in Black Series and compare him right here to Ripper. I think that's his name, Ripper. I'm terrible with names. You'll see a big difference. So when I go to print my figure stands, when I'm slicing it, I make the stand a little bit taller. Now, if you make the stand taller when you're slicing it, it's going to raise everything. On my particular slicer, which is flash print, I've never used any other slicers, but on my particular slicer, when I go to raise, I want this part raised to fit combat boots, because if I don't, it won't fit very well, because those are scaled for Star Wars. So when I raise this taller, it's going to raise this taller. Now, if you raise this taller and you don't on here, then it's not going to fit inside that track system, as you can see right there. So what I did was, when I sliced it, whatever height I changed on here, I changed on here, on the dimensions only right here. So when you're slicing, you have an axis like this, an axis like this, and I can't recall the third one, but it's basically, you can change one thing, but you won't change the size of anything else. Like, I wanted this part to remain the width of the stand, because the only thing I changed on the stand was the height. So if I made this taller, I needed to make that inside track taller. I know I'm not explaining it too well, because I'm pretty much, you know, a newbie with 3D printing, even though I've been doing it for like 2 years now. But I don't want you to think, if you get this account, get the files, and go to make your stands, that it fits your G.I. Joes. Some it will, but most of them will not. And I've had to make changes to this to reflect on this to accommodate that, if that makes sense. But needless to say, these stands are absolutely perfect, because I don't do a lot of dynamic posing of my figures on the shelf. I have them basically in generic poses. If you do it in dynamic poses, you run out of real estate real quick. And I eventually want my figures, especially the mass-produced retail figures, to be basically tools to enjoy, but mainly to use with action figure photography. So when I look at a shelf, I'll see, okay, I want to grab this figure, and this figure, and go make some action shots, and then put them right back for easy access. But I definitely wanted to share the latest 3D prints and this stand, because that is what made me join Land Speeder Luke's Patreon page. He uploads stuff at a high rate, and I bought a few things off of his Etsy store, and I liked it. And someone suggested, hey, just join his Patreon, and then you just pay a flat rate each month and have access to all his files. And that was the first Patreon account that I've joined. I'm thinking about joining some others, but he does amazing work, and most of his prints are support free, which makes it very easy. There's not a lot of cleanup, but definitely need to jump on this. Now, he does authorize some people to sell his prints. I am not one of them. I don't feel that my stuff is that good, and I do give stuff away just to kind of help out the community, you know, just to help out, get people kind of involved in 3D printing. Maybe if they get stuff, they'll, you know, decide to get their own printer, and then they'll start, you know, buying files and upgrading some of their collections. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like these stands. I hope I made some bit of sense on rescaling the stands to accommodate bigger size figures. Everything I've learned is off of YouTube and just asking fellow collectors and printers. So jump on it. Don't be hesitant, especially with this printer right here, the FlashForge 5M Pro. It's a little high market value. It's enclosed. I just like it, the enclosed printers. But you can get a cheaper model, which is the FlashForge 5M. Check out Figure Feedback. I believe that's his page. I'll put a link to his YouTube channel and tag him on this video. He does a lot of reviews on 3D printers and such. And his reviews on the FlashForge 5M kind of helped push me into upgrading my FlashForge printer. Even though I got the 5M Pro, there's not much difference between the 5M Pro and the 5M, or the FlashForge 5. But I just, I like enclosed printers. But check that out. I'll also tag Landspeeder Luke. Check out his files. If you're into Star Wars or just wanting to display your action figures in a better way, a cheaper way, because risers like this, acrylic risers, I usually pay $45 for 3 of them. And I have a ton of those everywhere. And I'd rather just be printing them, especially with this track system, because I can have them on the acrylic risers on this stand. However, the weight of a figure could cause it to fall forward, whereas this one, you're not going to have that, because boom. I mean, that is just brilliant how he did that. Okay. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment below, all the YouTube jazz. And thanks for watching. Later. Bye.